Good morning from day 21. Today is my last day, ending 3 weeks on trail. It's going to be a hard one, so I'm either going to do 20 and a half or 22 and a half miles. I'd prefer 22 and a half miles because that would set me up for a little bit less than 15 into Kendi Meadows tomorrow. But it's going to be a high elevation gain day, so at 20 and a half miles, I would have gained 5,500 feet throughout the day, which is already the highest amount I think I've gained in a day so far. And if I do 22 and a half, that'll be 6,000 feet gained throughout the day. So we'll see how I feel if I even make it to the 20 and a half and go from there. But slept really, really well last night. Didn't have my rain fly up in my tent, which I haven't had used in a couple weeks. And did get a little condensation on my quilt, so I'll have to dry that out at lunchtime. But no bear activity or anything like that we had to worry about. So just got to get this day started. If you can hear me panting, I'm starting the day on an uphill, but just for 1.6 miles, then we go down for a little bit. Here's the view this morning. I know it's only going to get more beautiful in the Sierra, but I'm just so impressed with how beautiful it is today and it was yesterday. I have officially hiked 300 miles on the PCT. I'm sitting here at the first water source that I will fill up at. That's about 4.9 miles from where I camped last night. There were a couple other water sources within the last mile and a half, but we're starting our uphill climb, so I wanted to carry water as little as possible uphill, and this was the last water source. So I will fill up on 3 liters here because we go up a hill and down, and at the bottom of this hill in 10.8 miles will be another water source before we climb uphill again. Just some thoughts I want to share. I am very happy with where I chose to start the PCT when I got on May 30th in Wrightwood, because I feel like it let me really get my trail legs before going into the Sierras, which was my biggest goal. I mentioned, I think, within the last couple days, but I feel like I really have settled into trail legs, feeling comfortable and strong while hiking in the last week, so which gave me a week and a half of strong hiking before going into the Sierras. So that makes me really happy with that decision. But me being who I am, I still do find things to worry about out here, even though there's less things to worry about on trail than in real life. But some of the main things I'm worrying about right now are if I'll make it to Canada on time. What that basically means is you shouldn't be hiking still by mid to end of September. It depends on the year, but just because it can get dangerous and cold and winter conditions in northern Washington. So I'm worried about the time frame I have to do that, how much that means I'll have to pick up my pace after the Sierra, and if that'll be possible. So that's one thing I worry about. The other thing I worry about is my current tramily. I love them all as people. I think they're amazing. They're really fun to hang out with. And this is just something that I need to learn with going with the flow better and adjusting to things. But I do worry that we will have to split up sooner than later, just because of different hiking styles, paces, goal distances per day, etc. But all in all, feeling really comfortable with my strength that I've developed out here. Wish I was a week or two earlier, but can't be helped with the timing of when I broke my foot. And so I'll just keep sitting here filling up my water and then go about my day. I still have 15 point something miles left to do, as long as I do make it the 22 and a half miles that I planned for. I made it to my lunch spot at Chimney Creek. The last several miles my energy has definitely been flagging, and I know the exact reason for that. Normally I eat my protein meal bar within 1 to 3 miles of starting, around 6, and then I stop anywhere between 9:30 and 10:30 for my siesta and second breakfast. It's now 11:40 and I haven't eaten anything since my bar this morning, so next time I plan to do a little bit more before stopping. I know I definitely need a plan to eat a little bit more, have a little snack so that my energy doesn't flag. But anyways, I am sitting here at Chimney Creek, which means so far today I've done 15.7 miles and climbed 3,363 feet to get here, and means that I have 6.5 miles left to go in the day and 2,566 feet to climb. So definitely, you know, I'm 2/3 of the way mile-wise, way over halfway climbing-wise. And just as an FYI, whenever I say the feet I have left to climb, there's of course descents along the way, and I just don't really count those in terms of the elevation changes for the day. The incline's obviously harder on muscle, more tiring. Declines do tend to aggravate any injuries you might have, so if my feet are sore, the declines tend to make those worse, but I don't count that in terms of how hard it makes my day.
Yeah, he was just crossing over right there and I came around the corner.
Just saw my first rattlesnake on trail-ish. The reason I say ish is I'm sitting at that water source where I last gave an update, like just slightly off trail, just have all my stuff out, spread out, reading, resting, and someone else who was near the water source commented that she saw a rattlesnake. So it was like 30-40 feet away from me, and I wasn't on trail, I wasn't passing it, but I went over and saw it, and it was moving in the direction I was sitting, so I did move my spot by about 10 feet, so I feel a little bit more protected, but I went back to check where it was and it's no longer there, so I don't know where it went, but like I said, I moved so I feel a little bit more comfortable. But that was my first rattlesnake on trail. I'm gonna preface this by saying I am okay and I am safe, and this is now after the fact. The videos I'll show, but I just had a bear get within 10 feet of me multiple times. I was sitting, thankfully, with another hiker, an older man named Chris, at Chimney Creek, just doing my resting, and there was 4 other hikers at different areas around the creek, and the bear that everyone warns about came around. So in the comments on our app, people have said there's a brown bear that's tagged or collared, that is unfazed by people, will make eye contact, will not run away when being yelled at, etc. And it's true. Me and Chris were just sitting there and the bear came probably within 6 to 8 feet of us. And so we stood up, made some noise. It did move away. But obviously at that point I decided I wanted to move on from that spot. And the bear prevented the group of 6 of us from being able to move forward. We had to cross the creek, and the bear was hanging out in that area, not letting us pass, not moving away when we yelled at it, just kept moving around. But fortunately not aggressive, just not scared. But we are all safe, everything is okay. It was just a day of first. My first day seeing a rattlesnake near a trail, my first day seeing a bear on the PCT, and my first ever bear ever in life that is not scared of people. That's the one they're talking about that's not scared of people at all. Bear.
I need to remember some Bible curses. לך לך מפה, יא בן בליעל.
He starts running away.
Bear, come on.
Come on,
I
Bear,
want to
just
hike.
Go away.
Get!
Get away from
Get!
here. We're trying to do stuff. Yeah, you go there, away.
Get!
Yeah.
Now watch out for a half charge.
Hey!
You might charge.
Hey! He might.
Random thought I was just thinking about as I'm finishing up the day is that this is day 7 without a shower for me, and I mean, I smelled all along, but the smell is definitely turning sour or rancid or something, and it just makes me laugh. This is a smell that Chad's gonna get when he comes to meet me in a couple weeks. So it's a dang good thing he loves me, because if I'm disgusted by my smell, I can't even imagine someone who's coming from the real world, how bad it's gonna smell for him. I don't know how much the GoPro can pick up, but there's the Cedar Mountains, and that very, very faint peak right there in the very far background is Mount Whitney. I think I mentioned this before, but if I haven't, Mount Whitney is technically not on the PCT, but having our PCT permits lets us hike it when normally the permits are pretty competitive, and it's a side trail from the PCT, 16 point something round trip, so the majority of PCT hikers hike Mount Whitney, and I absolutely intend to as well. It is the highest point in the continental US. I looked it up earlier. I think it's 14,500 something feet, and that will be something I'll do in my first stretch in the Sierras.
He hasn't like done it start to finish again, but he's been on the PCT or some point.
Today was a phenomenal day. So in terms of numbers, I am at 688.4, which means today I hiked 22.1 miles, which I think makes it my longest day by 0.1 miles. Definitely my hardest day. We climbed a total of 5,948 feet, which leaves for tomorrow to Kenny Meadows. I think there might be a 1 mile road walk once we get there, so plus or minus that, but exactly 15 miles with only 1,138 feet to climb. So should be able to get to Kenny Meadows early tomorrow. My plan is to get there, shower, and get laundry done, so that the next day when I zero on Friday, I can spray all my clothes, my tent, and everything with permethrin and let that hang out all day. My legs are a little bit sore today, but feeling great, feeling super strong, and really proud and happy with myself. I'm camping again with Jocelyn and Vicky, who, if I didn't mention already, started together. They're from Canada. And then Cole, who is just a different hiker from California, who, from what I gather, has kind of been hiking around Jocelyn and Vicky. But we all camped the last 2 nights together, so last night and then tonight, because of the bear issue. So I know I explained a little bit earlier, and I had videos and everything like that. But I do want to preface, I did feel comfortable videoing and taking pictures of the bear. The bear did not show any signs of aggression whatsoever. It was just a very tame bear that was not scared of people, and was more so just greedy and curious, but no signs of aggression, and at no point was I ever standing alone. It originally came up to where me and Chris were sitting, and when Chris stood up and I grabbed my poles, he went away, and then I went to move to hike on, and the bear circled back around, and I was standing by other different hikers, including Cole at that point. So at no point was I standing alone. I'm always around other people. We were making noise. The bear was very much aware of our presence, just didn't care, which is what comments on our app had said, which is why I was just there for water and for lunchtime and definitely did not plan to camp there. I think we're kind of past the edge of that bear's territory, but because was only 6.5 miles back, bears can obviously travel that far. We're still camping together just to make sure safety in numbers, but there have been no comments on the app that the bear has come up this far. So this has definitely been an interesting week for wildlife. A couple days ago seeing the bobcat, then today seeing the bear, and my first kind of on trail rattlesnake. So I hope the wildlife doesn't continue necessarily. I like seeing wildlife, but I don't like seeing it in such close proximity, especially that bear. But tonight will hopefully be another good night, and then an easy day into Kenny Meadows tomorrow for 1.5 days of rest and good food. Heading into town on day 22, gonna make it to Kenny Meadows today. Did have one catastrophe, I say that very lightly, one catastrophe in the night. So I have 2 pairs of hiking socks. The pair I wasn't gonna wear today is very dirty, so I left them out on my shoes that I have sitting right outside my tent because I didn't care if they got wet or not, because I wasn't gonna wear them. And something stole one of my socks. I don't know if it was a mouse or what. It wasn't windy, so my sock didn't blow away, but something stole one of my socks. Thankfully socks are very easy to replace, so I'll get a new pair when I'm in town today. But I guess from now on I can't even trust having my socks and shoes outside the door. Never had that issue before, but lesson learned. Also, a couple random side notes. I was not the first one to leave camp today like usual. We're all eager to get to camp, so I'm leaving earlier than I normally do at 5:40. But Vicky and Jocelyn left about 10 minutes before me. And then also, really realizing the benefit of using the massage ball. If you remember, my right arch occasionally gets sore and has been doing better with different inserts and using the massage ball every night. Well, last night when I got to camp, I was just busy talking to the others and just doing random things and forgot to massage my feet. And it's not painful by any means, but I can definitely feel my arch more than I do if I had rolled it out the night before. So I don't have any tan line on my arms or anything like that, given that I've been wearing my sun shirt. But if you ever wondered what 3 weeks of hiking in Southern California in shorts would do to your tan line, here you go. If you don't want to see my thighs, just skip ahead a few seconds. Looks fine. I have so many emotions going through my head right now as I hike the last 8 miles into Kenny Meadows. So mostly I'm excited. I'm so happy to leave behind Southern California and its heat and water deficits and head into the Sierras where it'll be gorgeous and just experience different terrain. So mostly I'm excited and proud of myself, But then again, me being me, I'm also worried. So we won't have to deal with snow as much at this time of year. I think this year has only experienced 90% of average snowfall this year anyways. But it's also had record fast snow melt. So I'll start with microspikes and ice axe and reevaluate after the first section if I think both of those are necessary or if I can send the ice axe home. But what comes with the snow melt is also the river crossings. And I know all the tips and tricks for how to safely do a river crossing, but I was reading a comment about a river that's 150 miles up the trail, so it might have slowed down by the time we get there, or it might be the same or worse. But they were saying that a hiker who was 6'2", the water was up to his chest. So definitely a little bit worried about that. And then I'm forever stressing about who I'm going to do this Sierras with. So for the rest of the trail outside the Sierras, hiking with other people or camping with other people is more just preference and for the social aspect. But in the Sierras, it's a safety aspect. So that camp in numbers for safety from bears, if there was snow, going up the passes as a group, and then most importantly, doing the river crossings with other people so that you can help each other and just be there for support. But the family I've been hiking with the last couple weeks, I don't know that I'm going to go through the Sierra with them or not. Still so much in the air. They're supposed to get to Kenny Meadows today as well. They'll probably just be later in the day. But we might have different schedules and time frames and goals to get through the Sierra. And I want to make sure my goals align with whoever I'm hiking with. So that worries me that I might be hiking out with people that I don't really know too much and don't really have any, I want to be with people that care whether I show up to camp or not, kind of thing. And then the other part that factors into this is that Chad's gonna come meet me after the first stretch of the Sierras, and definitely gonna take a zero. That's what most hikers do. I would love to take a double zero, so pick 2 days off trail so I can spend more time with Chad. But then doing so might put me behind whatever group I enter the Sierra with and make me lose my group. So things that I'm stressing about, I'm trying to be better about stressing about things like this and just let it happen. But so far that's not been something I'm capable of. I don't quite know where or what's different about this, but according to my map, this area is officially the natural feature called Kennedy Meadows. I don't know if it's up here or all around. Honestly, it looks similar to the last mile or two, but this is what my map says is Kennedy Meadows. Less than 1 mile to Kennedy Meadows. That means I'll have like almost 335 miles, PCT miles, in 22 days, and we'll be done with Southern California. I made it to the road, which just walk a mile and I'll be at Kennedy Meadows. Bathrooms. So that building right there is Grumpy Bears, where I just ate my burger, milkshake, and took a shower. And then I follow this little road, I believe will lead me to Triple Crown Outfitters, where I'll be able to get my new pair of socks. Here is my tent for the night, and just this whole area is where hikers camp. So I don't know if I have filmed much or what I have said, but so when you walk into the street that meets up with Kennedy Meadows, you walk a mile down the road, and that is where the general store is. The general store does allow camping there, and they do have laundry and showers you can pay for. And then 3 miles down the road is Grumpy Bears, and that's where I am at, and there's a shuttle that runs every 2 hours between the places. Both places have food. People say Grumpy Bears is a little bit better. The showers and laundry are free at Grumpy Bears, but really the biggest reason I'm here is it tends to be where more hikers congregate, and then also the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi is much better here at Grumpy Bears than at the general store, and since there is no cell service in this town, everything has to be done via Wi-Fi, so I wanted to come here so I could better talk with Chad and family and friends and things like that. The camping area is about 0.2 miles away, so barely a short walk back behind the store. And yeah, the store is where everything else is.